I freaking knew it! I knew Mutsuki was not a freaking dude. I knew it was a girl. I knew it. My trap senses were not tingling. I knew for a fact it wasn't a dude. That the character Mutsuki was way too feminine to be a freaking dude. And so I'm so happy that Ishida, at the very least, revealed the gender of Mutsuki. Oh my god, because as I said a couple of reviews back, I didn't even know what technical gender Mutsuki was. I was calling Mutsuki either a girl or a guy, and I didn't really know. I was just confused. And you see how you have it to where Torso attacks Mutsuki at the end of this chapter. It's revealed that there is a set of opie underneath that shirt. Okay. Thank God, unless it's fake, but I'll know. Anyways, this ending conclusion of this chapter, by far, is probably the worst cliffhanger we've had so far from Tokyo Ghoul. This is definitely the worst cliffhanger, because we're left on a chapter cliffhanger, with Mutsuki being attacked by Torso. And as we know, Torso is after people that have scars, that have went to recent hospitals. They come out, and he picks them up, I'm guessing, in a taxi, and he attacks them. He seems to have a scar fetish. That's exactly what we're seeing in this chapter. The big question is, why is Torso going after people with scars? Necessarily, though, I don't understand the exact specifics of why Torso would go after people with scars, unless it's his certain taste. And I don't remember Shu actually having a taste for scars. And that makes me believe that maybe Torso is not Shu with the entire scar fetish. That's definitely something different we've never seen actually Shu ever do. If he did, I might have forgotten, but I don't remember Shu going after people with scars. But anyways, we have a little bit of details going on that actually seems like it might be major foreshadowing for the future. I want to point out a couple of hints of dialogue in this chapter that really caught my attention, judging by the way it was written, the dialogue, and by the way it was showcased to us as a reader of this manga. Okay, so Hori, we know she has a connection with Shu. I've already stated this, and pretty much anyone should probably know she has a connection with Shu. Well, the entire bit with this chapter, you will see to where she's just giving pictures out about Torso, like his victims, and you see one of these victims that are being pretty much devoured still alive as a picture pretty much being taken of this victim, and we find out that this company, this camera company that's invested in stock with these certain specific cameras called Immortal, this company is called Immortal, and it has a massive marketplace stock in cameras, and it's just introduced in this chapter. At first look, this company called Immortal that is putting market stock into cameras doesn't seem to be that big a deal. It just seems like random, useless fodder information. But when I look at it, would Ishida really do that? Would Ishida, tell us about cameras that have stocks from Immortal? Would Ishida do something like this? No, I highly doubt. This is a person that hinted at the ending of Tokyo Ghoul since the freaking first chapter. So I highly doubt this company called Immortal that puts shares in a camera is not something important. It's definitely going to be important down the road, because it's weird how they're called Immortal. Very weird name for a person to actually put stock into a camera company. Either way, looking past that entire bit, we find out exactly what is different about this, Immortal camera. This Immortal camera, when it takes a picture, it has faded colors. For instance, let's say it looked like a very bright red, okay? Like a bright red background or something. I took a picture of it. When it comes out of the Immortal camera, like those old-fashioned cameras have the picture come out of, I forget the exact name to it, but those old-fashioned cameras, you have it to where the picture's a little bit faded. The colors are faded in the Immortal cameras. And from the information we are given in this chapter, the Torso is using an Immortal camera to take pictures of certain specific victims. He's taking pictures with an Immortal camera, and Immortal cameras are always sold at certain specialty shops. That narrows down the search radius of where Torso could possibly be, and you have to buy a lot of film if you're constantly attacking people all the freaking time. So right there, it shows us how pretty much Torso might be caught in the future in the upcoming chapters. Now, one thing I do want to point out with this chapter, there was a little interesting things going on here. For one thing, it is outright confirmed that that girl in the back of the taxi at the beginning of this chapter, I'm not talking about Mutsuki, I'm not talking about her getting attacked by Torso, about to get raped. I'm talking about the aspect of that girl that was introduced at the last part of, last chapter. Well, she technically wasn't introduced because it's obvious who it is. It's Hinami. It is freaking obvious, especially with the conclusion in the middle part of this chapter, because you have it to where she remembers a certain person, oh, kind of reminds me of that one person. And I'm like, yeah, that's a Kaneki reference. That's a Kaneki reference. Who would specifically remember something like that if they were not Hinami? Because judging by the age range and the way she looks, it makes it fitting that that is Hinami. So I'm just gonna say right now, that definitely, that girl is confirmed Hinami now because of that information that was given, how she was thinking in her mind with her monologue, talking about, like, it reminds me of that person. So another thing for that specific scene you can also get is the exchange of a USB. That right there seems to be very interesting. Most likely that is going to have a lot of vital information about Ogiri Tree. That's probably what it is. It probably has a lot of information about Torso and different stuff like that, because the overall, exchange of information with, the USB between Hinami and Torso and all that, the way they exchanged it, makes me believe that is going to be vital, because, once again, Ishida would not show us something like that if it's not something freaking major, because we have been trolled enough. It's obvious that Ishida loves trolling us, but I know for a fact that's going to be important if he's willing to take the time in a panel to actually draw something like that. So, from what we can get, is that obviously, Hinami, that's Hinami, she has a connection with Torso. Torso has a connection with Ogiri Tree, and Hinami came and pretty much told Torso that you need to calm down, stop eating so much, because the investigators are getting on to you. Like, they know where you are, they're trying to hunt you down, there's a manhunt for you, you need to stop eating so much. That's pretty much what Hinami was doing in this chapter at the beginning. So, moving past the beginning portion of this chapter, we get into the middle half. The middle half has some very intriguing information, and I've said it enough. Like I said, Sasaki is Kaneki. It's obvious enough, especially, once again, that more fucking details. You know what? I'm gonna be pissed. I will be really pissed if, for some reason, Sasaki isn't Kaneki. Like, I mean, out of all this vital information, all this foreshadowing, all these hints, all these different things that's just been obvious since the first damn chapter, even with the, like, inner thoughts and monologues going on with the black fingernail type looking Kaneki with Sasaki, it makes me think that, it's obvious that it is. But, is it really that easy to actually think that Sasaki might be Kaneki? Like, is this just, like, a rabbit's tail? We're trying to reach for, like, a rabbit's tail and we're missing it. I don't know, but we'll have to see. But anyways, the middle half, I was getting a little bit off topic there. The middle half of this chapter talks about Sasaki's Quinque. Now, as we know, there's two differences between the Quinque, like the doves use, and then the overall Quinque that, the new ghouls use in this chapter. And the interesting thing you get out of this is that the overall team, the, like, half-ghouls that were introduced since the first chapter, Tokyo Ghoul Ray, they have never truly seen Sasaki go all out with his Kagune. Like, they've seen his Quinque, his actual, ghoul investigator weapon. The weapon, normal investigators use. But they've never seen him use his Kagune, or his Quinque, as they call it. So, interesting. Very, very interesting. So, yeah. I wonder exactly why they haven't seen the full potential. Anyways, past that entire point, we have one other thing that was told to us. We find out that these ghouls that went underneath the surgery that we know, we found out a couple chapters back, these ghouls are not actually ghouls. These half-ghouls are not actually ghouls. And that right there is pretty intriguing. So we truly find out that these people are not ghouls. They've been experimented on and they can use actual ghoul abilities like a Kagune, but they are not ghouls. That's what's revealed in this chapter, and I'm like, huh. Sting. That actually brings up something I noticed Chibi mentioned last week and a couple weeks back. Chibi mentioned that pretty much when Shirazu and Urei use their ghoul mode, like when you see their eyes change, their Kakugan change, you notice how their eye color is completely different from the average ghouls we saw, for instance, especially Torso in this chapter. It looks completely different. Like, the shading of the half-ghouls that we've seen seems to be a lot lighter. And so, once again, it might prove the theory. Once again, it shows that they're technically not officially full ghouls. Even if they're half ghouls, some people have said technically they could be considered like a quarter ghoul. So, yeah, very interesting what Chibi's brought up, and I just wanted to mention that. That theory technically isn't my own, but it hints at what this chapter revealed. So, overall, this chapter, pretty good chapter. I love it. It has a lot of reveals, a lot more mysteries and questions and answers, as always, when it comes to Tokyo Ghoul. I really want to know who Torso is. I'm tired of being trolled. I want to know if Torso is Shu. It's looking like it's not Shu, but I want to know. Because I want Shu back, man. Shu's badass. Come on. We all love fucking Shu. He's awesome. But it would be kind of sad if Torso is really Shu, to degrade to that point to where he's, like, that big of a psychopath. But, yeah. Overall, tell me in the comments below how you felt about this week's chapter of Tokyo Ghoul. Are you ready for next week's chapter? I love you all so much. Leave your theories in the comments below. Please be safe. Chibi out.